sometimes at work we get into problems where like people believe they're right when they're wrong. How do you address that? Because I have a tendency to just agree because I used to be so confrontational. I used to be able to battle it like, oh, if you're right and I'm right, I'll do everything in my power to make him believe that I'm right, even though I might be wrong. At this point now in my life, I sort of just, okay, you're right, man. We'll just do it your way. How can I sort of not tackle it, but how do I? Is there any advice you give me on how I could address that?
Yeah, well, we have a number of people here and some with backgrounds in that. Orville, did you want to say something?
Well, one of the first is how important is it? How important is this? That's all I'm going to say for now. Because then you have to determine, is it worth this?
Yeah.
Why am I doing it? You owe it to yourself.
And you know what? You've probably heard of the phrase, you got to choose which hill you're going to die on.
Yeah.
Choose your battles wisely.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why, again, I still have chronic back pain. Because at work, I would just do certain things that I shouldn't have done, but I just wanted to do it and get it over with. And then you go home. I would go home and suffer in pain because I was lifting stuff that, even though I know I can lift it, I shouldn't lift it. You know, it's not
You should
good
get
for
the
me.
support. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have to wait for my nightgown. And because I was annoyed that I have to wait, I would just be like, no, you know what? Why? I can do this. But then I'd go home and suffer.
I
Putting
think that's
ice in my
because
back and just.
people have lost the ability to communicate in a debate style. So two people are doing one job. I will just use his example. You're both caretakers. You both have a similar task or a specific task. One of you might have a more efficient way that you do it, and it gets you to the end of the task. And they have a different way of doing it, and it gets them to the end of the task. And at the end of the day, there was no right way. It's your way, and it's my way. But at the end of the day, the task was met. And I think today, people have, like, it's like, you're not allowed to debate things or to find that way to talk something out. So like when you go to somebody, nowadays it's all about, well, don't take me like completely with what I'm saying, but it's like you can only go to a therapist now and put it all on the table. Before, you could just talk these things out and get to some sort of conclusion or an agreement. Nowadays, it's like everybody just wants to be right. I just want it to be my way. No, my way is the more efficient way. But really and truly, are you still getting to the same goal, doing it a different way? So really and truly, what is the right way and what is right?
I think it's just also really important to recognize that when we confront someone with something and they may have a view and you may have a view and it's different, most of the time in confronting them, it's just going to entrench that view a little bit more because we have that natural instinct. If we're confronted with something that's completely different from our viewpoint, we actually double down on that naturally. And I think, and just like,
especially now.
I was going to say, it depends on how you bring it. That's exactly.
Sorry, I was joking. I didn't mean to.
You immediately agreed.
I agreed
Conditioning.
in my own experience because I've worked in nonprofits and my goal is to raise money for different organizations and I'm going to meet people with different values and belief settings, right? Some organizations are more leaning one way and organizations leaning the other way. My job is to make sure that our teams are out there to get the dollars for those organizations. And I've found that like a really just good skill in that is just actively listening and taking the person as a whole in front of me and seeing where they're coming from. So whether that's their background, their experiences, because oftentimes people share that with you while you're talking. So now I can actually just navigate and figure out, okay, I understand why you come to this point, how you've got to this conclusion, may be logical to you, but if I can show slightly different avenues where we can agree on, and then usually we use a phrase, like you get the person to say yes to something about 3 times. By the end of it, we can get them to agree with our point, or at least our buy-in, right? So that is their dollars with that organization. And if it doesn't come to that, that's okay. But now both people are left to that conversation feeling a lot better and saying, I felt heard.